Alright, everybody. What's going on, boys? Shit is about to go down. We do have Thor's at the helm of the ship, on the other ship actually, fighting people off already. Thorfinn is on the ship. He is in danger. Leif is part of the crew, right? I would assume that as a historical character, he has to survive this, so the question is who's gonna get out of this alive, right? A bunch of people, right? All of the people, like the young men of the village, being there, being ambushed, being in a tricky situation, not being able to get out there. And then we have, through the machinations of Loki, we do have, whatchamacallhim, I don't remember his name actually, from last time, our mercenary band with their leader going in and, well, seemingly trying to fulfill that mission of eliminating Thor's. So I don't know what happens, but it can't be good. It cannot be good. Let's get ourselves into this, shall we? Without any further ado, Vinland Saga, episode 4. Turn that back here. Starts in a 3, a 2, a 1. Oh, quick little reminder, I'm sorry for the wrong countdown. Quick little reminder. We sync up after the OP as well, right? We skip the OP, sync up after it. 3, 2, 1. A true warrior. Oh yeah, and he's not even killing them, he's just putting them down. That is a scary face. The troll. Ascalad, that's his name. Ooh, holy shit. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do. Oh, he's mad. Can he beat Thor's? Apparently not. Oh no, that's him actually. I mean... What is he, a berserker or something? I didn't expect that, to be honest. Ooh, okay, he's actually eating something that, like, changes his state of mind. I love how they're playing with perspective here. The troll of you. Oh, all right, I guess we.
傷をつけたら売り値が下がっちまう。気をつけろ。
Alright, so what are we gonna do, boys?
遊んでやるぜ、僕ちゃんたち。
Alright, throw him right in there. They didn't expect this, and of course, Thorfinn is like, well, apparently it's funny for Askeladd, so. What? What do you mean? But yeah. I mean, I called them mercenaries, apparently they're pirates. I mean, they got a real advantage there.
一人で軍船2隻を相手に一歩も引かん。とっつぁん、俺らも戦おう。バカだれ。素人が下手に動くな。崖の上に奴らのいでがおるんだぞ。こういうことはあいつが一番離れしとる。でもよ。
Leif trusts him.
わからんのか。こっちはトールズ以外、ガキと素人の集まりなんだぞ。任せるしかないんだ。
されと言っておとなしく去る連中ではないか。今のところ崖のいては撃ってこない。正面はざっと30人。一人でやれぬ数ではないが。
It's gonna be hard.
船の間隔が近い。総出で飛び移ってこられたら混戦は必至だ。俺だけならともかく。
You can't protect Thorfinn and the rest.
貴様が首領か。全能のオーディンの名において貴様に決闘を申し込む。貴様が勝てば好きにするがいい。俺が勝ったなら速やかに兵を引け。断るというのなら貴様はわずか12人の奴隷を得るためにその3倍の部下を失うことになる。
質問してもいいかな。なぜ俺が首領だと思う？
I mean...
匂いだ。
さすがだね。いいだろう。この決闘
The smell.
オラフの子アシェラッド、オーディンの名において誓う。
みんな選手の方へ下がりなさい。
はい。
I wonder what tricks he's got up his sleeve. Because he ain't gonna fight honorable, he's gonna fight dirty. I just know that.
俺もね、あんたから匂いを感じるんだよ。俺と同じ匂いだ。ヨウムのトロルよ。
俺を知って。不老機か。
察しがいいね。頭のいいやつは好きだよ。
父上、お前みたいなワルと一緒にすんな。父上は強いんだ。死んじゃえ海賊。バーカ変な鎧。
元気な砂利だな。あんたの子かい。
アシュラッド、貴様妻子はいるか？
いや。
そうか。始めよう。
ずいぶん無造作に間合いを詰めてくる。
Yes. Mm-hmm. He got a hit off though. Risky fighting.
かわされた必殺の間合いをもう奇襲は効かねえだろうな。こんな辺境までわざわざ足を運んだ甲斐があったぜ。なかなかの男がいるじゃねえか。トルツ
強いな。許せアシュラット。手加減はできん。
あえて嬉しいぜトルズ。
Yeah, but he is worried. Holy shit. Like the brute strength that he shows there. Yeah, Askeladd seems a lot more like the agile fighter. I'm sure he has considerable strength, but I mean, he's better than all of you people, so.
しまった。奴の狙いは俺の剣か。これ以上は受け
Okay, he's going for a strategy.
ことは奴の剣も来た。狙いが読めりゃ剣筋も読めるぜ。来た大振り。
Ooh. That is so cool.
俺が油断して大振りするのを待ってやがった。鼻
Do you think
を折らせるつもりで
more on that later?
こいつの筋書き通りか。なんてこった。この俺がいいように踊らされるとは。
This is very interesting because, like, actually, you'd think that Askeladd would be the one who is very clever and doing a lot of feints and fighting dirty, as I've said in the beginning of the discussion. But Thor saw that very quickly, and then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna use your own weapons against you because you wouldn't expect it from somebody like me who is like big and like strong, right, and has like that advantage, and you would expect somebody like Thor's who has like all of that strength behind him, right, to be a person who's not forced to fight dirty, right, or forced to fight clever, but he's doing it. Very cool, actually. But he ain't gonna fight dirty now, right? He's got his archers.
どうしたやれよ。
その必要はない。降参すると言え。
And that is your problem.
俺は狩猟だぜ。手下の前でそれだけは言えねえな。
Yeah, he's playing his game still.
やれよ。俺を殺さん限り、この決闘は終わらんぞ。
He doesn't really want to. I think it may be because it's in front of Thorfinn.
なんだ何がどうなってる
アシュラットが負けた。負けたのか。
認めろ。この決闘は俺の勝ちだ。速やかに兵を引け。
本当に強いなトールズ。あんたなら一軍の大将も務まるだろう。だがなぜだね。それほどの腕がありながら15年もアイスランドに。もったいないと思わんか。
思わん。こんなものに頼らざるを得んのは俺が未熟だからだ。本当の戦士には剣などいらぬ。
トールズ、あんた俺たちの狩猟にならんか。
Ooh, okay, I didn't see that. Is that a genuine offer?
なんちってね。
Nah.
おいおい、
Okay.
誰も笑わねえな。冗談だよ。
Or did he pull back because he saw he would say no?
真顔で冗談なんぞ。抜かしてるバカ。どいつも動きな。ガキの首から下がなくなるぜ。剣を捨てろ。早くしやがれ。アシェラット、貴様。
You should have expected that. I mean, sorry, Thor, that is your fault.
たく人がいいな。俺らが決闘の作法を守ると思ったが。
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, what do you expect?
遊んでみたまでよ。音に聞こえたヨウムのトロルがどんなもんか。なかなか楽しかったよ。
That's a stalemate. Unless you drop your sword. Because that's stupid.
お前たちは決闘の作法を乱した。この勝負、俺の勝ちだ。
どっちでもいいさ。俺の狙いはあんたの弾だ。
分かってる。
承知した。この決闘はあんたの勝ちだ。
And that's how it ends. A foolish man indeed. Because what does he achieve here?
アシュラット、この勝負、俺の勝ちだ。戦士の約束を違えるなよ。
分かっている。我が先祖アルトリウスの名にかけて速やかに兵を引こ
う。レイフさん、すまないが頼みがある。俺の首を
His friend.
ヨウムの狩猟シグバルディに届けてくれ。召集を嫌って行方をくらましたと誤解されたら村が報復を受ける。
お前という男は
そこの貴様、望み通り俺の命をくれてやる。今すぐその子を離せ。
父上、父上。
ソガキめが今日から命を大事にしてやがれ。トールズに感謝するんだな。てめえらクソガキ100人でも釣りの苦しだ。
父上が死んだ。
Yeah, that's not what you imagine.
父上がなんで剣を捨てたんだ。戦士に剣はいらないなんてそんなはずないじゃないか。
I guess it will be years before he realizes what his father did. Although I think it's foolish, either way.
負けたくせにちくしょう。なんで父上が死んであいつが生きてるんだ。ちくしょう。ちくしょう。
こんないい船捨てるなんてあいつらも思い切ったな。トールズがいなけりゃ動かせないんだとよ。やつ一人で5人分漕いでたらしいぜ。へえ。
Such a shame that he died.
しかしよかったぜ。ちょうど3隻目が欲しいとき。
負傷は28名が、死者はいない？一人もがバカな。
Yeah, he didn't kill a single one. I do wonder what he's thinking about that, if that gnaws on him.
だよ。せえな、まったく。
See, literally, he didn't even get captured. He's just sailing after them.
船底に隠れていやがったな。見ろよ、一丁前に探検なんか持ってるぜ。殺される。
Wait a few years and he's actually gonna do it.
いや、僕怖い。
よくも父上を殺したな。お前も殺してやる。絶対に殺してやる。ぶっ殺してやるぞ。殺してやる。
ガキのくせになんてめしやがる。
Oh, that's what happens when you do something like that.
海に捨てるか。
ほっとけ。どうせすぐ死ぬ。
Don't you underestimate somebody who's hell-bent on a mission. There's a lot of sadness and anger going on there. I mean, where do you go with that, right? Where do you go with these feelings? Young as that? I guess, like, growing up, being an adult, having met a lot of, like, trouble and stress and painful situations, you know how to deal with these things. And obviously you're still shaken, you're still absolutely floored by things like that, but you have way more of a chance to actually process some of that. You've grown up healthy and steadfast and with support. But if you're just a child, naive, not even open for possibilities like this, not understanding how these adults think, right? The world is a lot more simple when you're a kid. And then you experience something like that. and shape your entire idea of what the world is really like. Let's run it back. I think Thors is a fool. He's an absolute fool. Just simply because, you know, I mean, look at that. He has this high moral stance. Well, we're gonna talk about the themes first, do a little bit of like animation talk later, I think. He's got this high moral stance. He's not killing anybody. He's going for like the putting everybody down and unconscious. You got like mushrooms, combat enhancing mushrooms, interesting. But yeah, he's putting everybody down. And he walks up and he's like, look, you ain't got a chance, which is not true, and Aselat calls his bluff, kind of. But he's like, just get away from here and we'll leave you be, right? So obviously, since he can't fight, he's saying all the right things. He's like, here's my kid, and there's like these greenhorns from the village. I'm the only one who can really tussle. And if they all jump ship, then it's gonna be a melee really soon. And he knows that. Aselat knows that. But he humors him. He's like, alright, let's have that duel. And then that was the first thought I had when he's like, my dad's gonna beat you, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, can you not tell him he's your, like, can you not tell the bad people he's your dad? Like, holy shit, dude. But he doesn't realize it, right? He's like, there's so much naivete in there because like all of his world was his village, right? The tussles between the kids. Everybody was treating kids nicely as an adult. There's all this unbridled energy, right? He's looking up to his father. He has so much pride in him and whatnot, right? He's the best in the world. He can do anything. He doesn't realize that there's people out there who are incredibly mean-spirited, right? Who only care about their own goals and what they can profit from a situation, right? And I do think there's more in Aselat than just that. But there's a lot of that in him. Right? Like, most of his being is defined by profiteering from the suffering of others, right? Selling others to slavers after you've captured them, right? Raiding coastal towns, stuff like that. And entertaining his men, being on the one hand somebody who can lead the men, who is the strongest, right? Might makes right kind of deal. But also the cleverest, the smartest one among them. And is able to lead them through that because they respect that. And that is a lot like he is everything, right? He's got the smarts, he's got the combat skills, which is more on the side of like agility based, right? He's got base strength, but he's more agility based. And then he's got all of the tricks, all of the little tricks. And he combines that with a capturing personality, right? Among his men. Yeah. So this is a lot of who he is. A pirate, a scoundrel, a mercenary. Always the upper hand, but never merciful. And I think like sometimes there might be a tinge in him that wants to be merciful but knows that he can't be, because if he starts doing that, it's showing weakness, right? If he starts doing that, it's not like it's gonna work against his self-interest, probably because he's learned that over the course of his life. right? His life's lessons have been, you need to take advantage of others, otherwise they're gonna take advantage of you. Stuff like that. And he can't break that character. I don't think like he is absolutely mean-spirited. You do see that later on, I think, in things like him actually letting the kid and the others leave in accordance to Thor's request. After Thor's like, okay, I'm gonna throw my weapon away, you're not gonna lose any more men, and you're not gonna kill my boy or the other ones here, you're gonna let them go. And he did that, right? Or at least I think, it's possible he still captured like the young men there, right? Like it's possible, but I don't think so, right? He just threw a punch at one of the young guys, I forgot his name, and he was like, be thankful to Thor that he actually did that, because he's worth way more than all of you, right? In combat skill, in honor, all of these things. But let's talk about that for a second, because I do think Thor is absolutely stupid. Why is that? Well, it's pretty simple. And I don't blame him for that, because it's more of an emotional decision, even if he doesn't like to tout himself as somebody who's more emotional. But his kid is being threatened here, right? And he doesn't see any way out of this other than him dying. Problem is, what he doesn't foresee, as somebody who isn't in touch with emotions and whatnot, is that his kid is gonna develop trauma from seeing his father die live, right? Being brutally murdered. He's gonna have the additional psychological damage of seeing his absolute idol, the person who he thought was invincible, lose, right, to somebody who is absolutely deplorable methods and has no honor. And he's gonna develop a lot of hate in place of that pain of losing his father, right? Because not only is he alone at sea, Leif is here, but Leif is not really apparent to him, right? There's no mother, there's no sister, no nothing. His father just died. He's alone at sea. He's isolated. He is hurting incredibly hard, right? And to quell that pain, that sadness, that suffering, not having to think about it, it is very easy, even for adults, to jump to an external force to blame. And obviously in this case, it is actually somebody to blame. But there's like greater machinations of the world that are going on that Thor is aware of, that Askeladd is aware of, that even Leif is maybe partially aware of, even though he's not, like, he doesn't know the ins and outs of what Thor's and the Yom things, what's happening there, right? But, and Thor's backstory and whatnot, he doesn't know all of that. But Thorfinn doesn't know that. Right? So what he blames is immediately these people, right? He's like, the world is cruel, fuck you all, I'm gonna murder you all, right? Like, a child generally doesn't think that. Obviously, we did see the seeds of that sown when Thorfinn had some aggression problems. Now, imagine you have somebody who already got some, like, behavioral, like, problems with, like, tempering themselves, right? With, like, self-control, impulse control. And then you subject them to intense trauma, to intense suffering and pain and loss, right? You take away their primary person of like the primary role model that is there for their like moral development, and you set them in front of the people responsible for the death of their loved one, right? And you have the recipe for somebody who is absolutely hate-filled, whose one mission, if he's being left alive, is to brutally murder the people who did this to him. At least that's one trajectory he can go. Obviously, we have a lot of like trajectories he can go when he meets people that might be a positive influence on him, but at the moment, that's not the case. So his trajectory goes towards somebody who is potentially very aggressive, whose one mission will be to be as good as he can be in combat or whatever, right? In order to slaughter the people responsible for his father's death. There's a lot of revenge fantasies going on. There's maybe a loss of human connection because he doesn't want and can't connect to people who are de facto his enemies and evil, right? And he will have a really hard time opening up to new people because of this, I guess, this event of betrayal that happened here, right? And he will have the problem that he just experienced a fundamental break in his trust in the world and how the world works, right? In terms of like honor and morality and whatnot. The world he grew up in, which was a sheltered world in which honor was very high and people helped each other and were there for each other and didn't look out for profits, but rather for the community and just living together. And now we arrive, or even just like Warriors Code and stuff like that you have like in kids' plays when it comes to like just playing warriors and whatnot. Now you get into the real world where people are mean, they're out in it for themselves because they've learned very early on that they need to beat others down in order to stay up, stuff like that. This is not gonna be a good time. You see, like, everybody here is crying, but Leif especially, and I want to highlight that because for him it's like Thors is one of his friends of a long time, right? I don't know where we have the scene with like Leif. I think it's somewhere there, right? Yeah, over here. Didn't expect that either when he set out for this journey, right? That his friends of a long time, Thors is gonna die right here. I mean, these people, but they've experienced, like him, he has experienced loss before. They haven't. Their world is shattered too, to a degree. I do wonder where everything will take them. They're gonna go back to the village and like, or if it's gonna take them to the coasts of Europe and whatnot, or England, where they will fight for foreign powers, foreign ways, right? Or maybe they go to the Yomes, and fight for them in the war or whatever, hoping to gain some experience and one day like just go back to Asalad and his band of pirates and beat them. Or if like where it takes them. It's gonna be very curious to see. Alright. Love this moment. This is so tragic, really. Right. So big and strong. He lost, but he still died. And we developed that rage, we developed that absolute hate. Look at that face. I mean, I know that because, like, I mean, everybody knows that. I've felt like this before. Maybe not exactly like this, but I've had feelings, bad feelings. Everybody has, as human beings, right? You do meet events or people, right, where you do have the most horrible, gruesome thoughts about all kinds of violence you would do to them, right? And that's human. That's human. Stress, bad times, right? Sometimes the world is so unfair and so cruel, and it feels like some people deserve this, right? Some people deserve what you've experienced. It almost seems like justice, right? Like you would do the most unspeakable things to them. The question is, would it fulfill you? And the answer is probably not, right? Probably like be just a quick relief, and then you're left alone again with your suffering, which he's gonna learn over the course of a long time, right? And hopefully he'll meet people along the way that will have a positive influence on him and get him over to the light side, like the light side, right? Get him over to a side again where he maybe will one day be able to lead a satisfying and happy life. But this is gonna be a long time because the damage Sorry. The damage that's being done here, that's been done here. You can't undo that in just an instant. It's gonna take years of him being self-destructive and destructive towards his environment before slowly and steadily, maybe, if he's got the right positive influences, if he makes the right experiences, if he makes the right decisions, he's gonna be on a path that is leading him down a better future. More happy future, maybe, but not today. I think Aselat actually sees something in him. But so far he's dismissing him because he's like, the kid will shut up at some point. He's gonna be hungry and thirsty and he's gonna just collapse, and then we'll decide what to do with him, right? If we kill him or set him out somewhere or whatever. But I think he also feels with him. I don't know what Aselat had, like what past he had. But maybe there's something that resonates with him. Because we saw that he was also ruminating about what Thor's did, that he just knocked everybody out. And he's like, unbelievable, right? Like snarking at that, but not in a way of like more in the way of like, that's stupid, but not in the sense of like laughing about him, more like being angry at the display of honor and morality that Thor showed, right? And maybe also a little bit like me, kind like I am feeling, being angry at Thor's for taking that decision of, I'm gonna die here for everybody. And I guess like in a way, in a sense, that might have been the best decision, because like decision A is a lot of them die and maybe Thor's dies and they get out of this. Decision B is Thor's dies and a lot of them are like sold into slavery, and decision C is he throws his sword away, he dies for everybody here, and everybody else is being let go and hopefully can return home and they're gonna be fine, right? Like even if there's some sadness and pain and suffering from that. But I think he underestimates how much of an impact seeing your father getting murdered right before your eyes has on your psychological state. You underestimated that, of course. You set up your son for a life of suffering, really. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that happened within the last episodes that were not in Thor's control or that he didn't foresee, obviously. But, you know, still. I don't know what the right decision would have been here, obviously. Because they wanted Thor's dead, so maybe Thor's was like, I'm dead either way, right? I could survive this, but then a lot of them would die, right? A lot of the boys here, and maybe, like, most probably Thorfinn, because he's the smallest. But yeah. Let's go back for a second to the animation. I don't want to highlight this too much. It's like Berserker. Cool that we introduced like the mushrooms and whatnot. That this is gonna come up later for sure. I do love some of the imagery, like the tilted boat, right? Like we do have so much just perspective play that's going on here partially. Let me see. Yeah, we're on a good. Right. That is actually a really cool thing, right? We're running in 1, 2, and 3 are coming right into the screen, and we're changing it over to a close-up of Thor's to one side of the screen, and then he's putting his fist out to break the arm. Really realistic depiction of that. That's holy shit. And he's using all of these very genuine methods of like just like putting or making all of the warriors drop their weapons or get knocked out. That is funny. Like bro is just walking up and Thor's like, nope. Shut up. Yeah. But yeah, see, that's also a cool shot, right? Him just walking up and then we see a sword come in frame out of focus. And bro moves in focus basically. But then he gets thrown out. And again, Dutch angle. It's like, holy shit, what is this dude doing? He's so scary. But then we start off with Björn, who's taking some shrooms, taking some good old shrooms. First he's, oh, I love that, right? Like I said, in the reaction, this is amazing. We gotta look at that because it's so well done with the, look at that. He's not that big, but it symbolizes very well exactly what's happening, right? He's trying to overwhelm and overpower, and he's kind of like a berserker, like. So he's drawn a lot bigger than Thor's in this scene to show that threatening aura, that like that. But we take him out with one fist, which is insane. Alright. We also have like some really cool animation when it comes to the duel between the two of them. Right. Like these hard frames of the faces of like the serious faces. Look at that, right? Sword walking, right? Kind of like framing in Ocelot in that like in that part of the screen. That is so cool, right? Like almost like the sword of Damocles over his head, because it's like threatening in this situation. Got like the eyes narrowing, but then he's going for his trick. And we're focused on this object. That's like done like a lot when it comes to feints in combat, that you make your, like that you try to command the attention of your enemy away from you so you can do something that they won't be expecting, right? The sail drops, and instead of like jumping over it or going past it, he's underneath, right? Which you wouldn't expect because it's very dangerous. If you get hit by the sail, you're done, right? But he's going for that quick slash, and he gets him actually, but he realizes, damn, I kind of didn't get him enough. And he's breathing hard. He's like, damn, that cost me a lot of strength. Right. A lot of cool stuffs here. He's like, I gotta be serious now. Right in. The sparks fly. And he's getting pushed back, right? Like, there's a lot of weight behind these, right? A lot of vibration, a lot of, like, the rotation shot of the two swords and him flipping it away. Get the smushiness of the swords as they're being swung very quickly. It's really cool. But they're still detailed enough in, like, the still frames to show a great lot of detail in the weaponry, which is really important for like the authenticity of the scene. Smack it down, destroy half the ship like the planks, and him just displaying his speed, but still not fast enough. He's being pushed back. A lot of like just clashing and trying to defend and not attacking himself. Oh, I love this, right? The point of view shot, right? We have it both ways, right? Not both ways exactly, because this is like this is closer than the point of view. This is like sword point of view, kind of. What a fireframe. And he's just going in, right? Back and forth. And here we see the point of view shot of Thor's, which is amazing. The quick flash of the eye of Ocelot as he's noticing what's happening here is like, okay, he's chipping away at my sword. He's just brute strengthening it and trying to get the sword. But Thor's kind of had that in his calculation that his sword could break too. And in that moment, great detail on like the chipped part of the sword, by the way. And in that moment, he is very adaptive and quickly realizes that Ocelot sees himself as being at the advantage and not reacting quickly enough. So he punches his elbow in order to get the sword out of his hands and into his, and damn, we are here. And like the way the sword points at us, right? And like we are Ocelot and the sword is at our throat. Amazing framing. Like this is some world-class framing on some of that. Even that, right? The sword separates both sides of the screen and we have it on his shoulder, basically. But yeah, I mean, we talked about the emotional themes. So cool, these shots. we talked about the emotional themes, the Fanes and Asalat kind of feeling out that Thors is the kind of person who maybe wouldn't want to do that. Especially, I think, like, if Thors would have beheaded him, maybe they would have just fired the arrows and and slaughtered them, and that would have been it. I find it very interesting that he's asked him to he was like, hey, do you want to lead us? I do wonder if that was serious. If he was like, okay, for a second he was like, if there's like a slim chance that he could lead our band, I would want him to, because he's so strong, he's so amazing, and yeah. I mean, I don't know, I don't think the moral compass would fit, so it could have been just a sick joke of his, but I don't know, because it felt like it was like a serious question for a second, and then in the reaction of Thors, he immediately saw, oh no, this is not gonna be, but he never gonna agree to that. And so he's like, I was simply joking, come on, wouldn't you take a joke, right? So he's playing it off because he's like, if I don't play it off now, my men will think I backed down and I was being weak. But if I actually play it off as a joke, it's gonna be like mocking, basically. And it's gonna put me higher in my man's standings, because it's like, yeah, it's Asalat. He jokes around, he mocks people, right? He's a scoundrel. But yeah. The eye as it reflects, as he sees, right? We don't even need to see it happening all the time, right? The entire thing, we just need to see his eyes as he notices that frame, the way he stands, like he's almost grounded, like he has roots in the ground. We had that last time. I had that in Technolize, in one of the scenes in the middle of the series, where one of the characters was trying to desperately keep control of his environment, kind of. Where there was like power struggles going on and whatnot, right? He was trying to control the chaos around him, right? And stabilize everything. And we have that here too, where he's like more, but the aspect here is more like he's standing steadfast in the ground. He's standing his ground, right? And making his decision, his last stand here. He's been like, he's had the upper hand on a moral ground up until the end. Right, he just didn't have the upper hand when it came to everything else, right? Because they got ambushed and whatnot. I love this framing, because it's like you have the cliff very high on the one side, and this is like with the sail coming in, which is kind of like a very interesting and very like, it's filling the space here. There's no empty space. We got the little arches on top of the cliff, and then we have a lot of open sky that is kind of almost oppressing down on Thors. And then we have this almost statue, right? Like a war hero dying, making his last stand. And all of these arrows in there, like Boromir from Lord of the Rings or something, right? When he had like 3 arrows in his chest. Spoilers for Lord of the Rings, but this is like a very old movie / book. And we got a lot more empty space behind him, which is like, I do feel like this is like the space he's protecting. Maybe you could say he's protecting the freedom for his people. Basically, standing against like the wall of oppression that's coming from the pirates. But yeah, even now dishing out like requests and orders and whatnot and petting Thorfinn's head, I find that very interesting how Asalat looks at that. I do wonder what he feels for Thorfinn in that moment, because there's definitely some empathy going on inside of him below the surface. The question is what the focus of that empathy is. Is it like that poor boy, or is it more of like this damn father kind of like blaming Thor's for this happening to Thorfinn in this moment, where it's like more of aggression against Thor's, right, as a result of like, what did he think bringing this boy with him? Because obviously they don't know that the boy snuck onto the ship. Almost like regret or feeling sorry for Thorfinn here, maybe. But also a hint of like irritation in his face, I feel. We do have the emotional outburst of one of our boys, and he's like, you stupid little shit. And this makes him really angry. He's like, his death is worth more than 100 green boys like you. Yeah, and with that, we're gonna end it. Vinland Saga, episode 4. What an episode. Holy shit. Yeah. It's been a wild ride so far. I do hope I can record 1 or 2 episodes of something else tomorrow, which would be cool. And yeah, next week you're definitely gonna get Girls Last Tour. I don't know if you're getting another Vinland. We'll see. We'll see. Depends how much time I have on my hands. I got a lot on my plate right now. A bunch of presentations to do for school. A bunch of work to do in general. I'm busy. But I'm trying my best, okay? I'm trying my best. Thanks for watching. Do leave me a like and subscribe if you want to. If you feel like watching more, check out my Patreon or my Discord. And I'll see you next time.